We'll start out with the roll call. Alder Corpus Dax.
Here.
Alder Dorf.
Here.
And Alder Johnson is heading home at this time. Hopefully he brings some heat with us. Also in attendance tonight, we have Alder Stoyer, Alder Gerlach, Alder Stevens, and
the mayor.
Mayor Ganrick.
Oh, Mayor Genrick. So I'm looking for the agenda.
So moved. Second.
There, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And also I'll entertain a motion on the minutes.
Moved. Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that passes unanimously. On to regular business. Consideration with possible action on the request to fill the following replacement positions and all subsequent vacancies resulting from internal transfers. This would be a park supervisor. Does anyone have any questions for staff on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to
I did not
approve.
have any questions. Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And now we're on to item number 2, consideration with possible action to overhire 2 firefighter recruits. Does anyone have any questions for the chief on this?
No.
No, I'll have to say it certainly makes sense, and I talked to the police chief about this. Oh, stand by. Director Falls wants to slow down the process here. Go ahead, Director Falls.
Yeah, so Chief Lynn, do you want to jump in with some of the information we received this morning and maybe how that can affect moving forward?
Oh, okay.
So Alders, this morning I got an unfortunate email from another one of our captains, and I won't go into details or names, but an individual that has been seeking medical treatment now for quite a while. And the information is that he will not be coming back to work, though his retirement date is dependent upon one more procedure. So at best, he'll be here till June 1st. And at worst, he'll be leaving anytime between now and then, but definitely no later than June 1st. And so with that, that would give us, I would be asking to amend my request to allow for 3 overhires. And essentially, if you just extrapolate out the savings, there's about $13,600 in savings. So add another $6,700 or $6,800 in savings to that number there based on hiring versus filling the spots with overtime. And as I explained in the memo, we are basically at minimum manning from now until the end of the year, which means that every available or open slot has to be filled with overtime. That's by contract. It's Article 8 in the contract, page 8, Article 8, for those that are interested in going and looking at it. So when we hit the minimum manning, we basically have to fill every single slot that's open. And so even with keeping the 2 captains and the engineer on payroll for the 2.5 months before the people graduate the academy, it's still a cost savings to the city. That's the first point. Second point is, it places a bigger burden on those that are still left on filling all these open slots, because you have to understand we have 186 people on the floor, and all of them have vacation time and Fair Labor Standard Act time that they're taking away. So, really through the summer and the fall months, especially, and then through the holidays, people are getting forced into work all the time. And that's not a situation that, is good for our employees when they're trying to take some time off. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sure, Alder Gerlach.
Very elementary question as usual. Does overhire mean, I've never heard the term overhire. Does that mean you fill a position before the person retires or leaves so that you actually have 2 people hired for the position at one time?
Yeah, Alder Gerlach, because we only hire one time a year, and the reason we only hire one time a year is that we essentially put on a new recruit academy, and that runs anywhere from 8 to 11 weeks, depending on the experience level of the people that we're bringing in. And so this year, it was slated to start March 1st. We pushed it back to March 15th. And it takes us, I think the recruit academy is going to go, it'll finish right before June 1st. And so those folks cannot be put on the floor as active firefighters until they get through the academy and actually graduate that. And so that's the reason for the overhire request. Otherwise, we'd be going 3 more positions fully open for the remainder of the year, which would essentially cost the city more money. It's more cost effective to hire them with benefits and everything than it is to pay an average overtime salary for those 3 slots.
Chief, so you say you're at minimum staffing, and I know the PD doesn't go to minimum staffing almost till late spring. Why are you at minimum staffing now?
Well, that's because of the amount of time off that's included in the contract. There's only so many slots that are available every day. So under the contract, they're allowed 9 vacation slots off every day and 4 Fair Labor Standard Act days. So at any given point, we can have 13 people off on any given day. They make their vacation picks the January previous. So in other words, for 2021, they made their vacation picks in January. And when they get done, when everybody gets done with taking off all the time that's included to them in their contract with the amount of people that we have, typically will be above minimum manning for January and part of February. But then getting into March, every single shift is taken or filled or open, I guess is what I'll call it, with people taking vacation time and then their Fair Labor Standard Act time, and then you throw in sick time, family medical leave, injuries, and so forth. We had something, I think it was 1,034 shifts off last year, 1,034 24-hour shifts last year.
Okay. And then you said you have an academy. Now, I know the police department, they go through a minimum of a 2-year training program. And then they have the academy, which is 17 weeks. Then if they get hired by the PD, they have a mini academy and then the FTO program. So you talked about an academy. Is that put on by the Green Bay Fire Department?
Yeah, every year. So we require that when folks come on to us, their minimum requirement for hiring is an associate's degree in fire technology or fire medic program or something similar to that, typically those 2 degrees. And then they come in as a basic EMT, and some of them are actually trained paramedics. We have a good, probably over 50% of our folks are also trained paramedics. But once they get through the hiring process, then we put them through a 10-week, 8 to 11-week class on Green Bay's way, the way we operate, our standard operating guidelines, how we operate all of our apparatus and our procedures and so forth. We put them through our specialty team training and all the things we need to do to get them up to speed to be able to function as a regular member out on the floor. So they come to us already with a 2-year degree. We got about between 8 and 11 weeks that we put in additional time, and then they'll graduate the end of May, and then they'll go on the floor with their regular assignments starting in June.
And how much staff does that take to train them?
Well, we have a training staff of 4. There'll be 2 to 3 of them assigned to it the whole time. And then we have adjunct instructors that will come in, chief officers, other officers from the floor. They'll come in and they'll teach, 3-4 hour segments at a time. Some of them are all day classes. It's pretty intensive.
So for that 10-week period, you're actually shorting your staff because you're used to train these new recruits.
Well, it's taken up, it's planned every year. So we try to plan around, all the other mandatory required training for all of our personnel. Whether that's a federal or state requirement or a local requirement, we try to plan that in and around the recruit academy.
Okay.
There are some other things that get done, but we do plan it into our schedule.
All right. And so then those 4 trainers, the rest of the year, they're just doing mandatory training that's required for all the other firefighters.
Yes, that's correct. We have, between the federal and state requirements and then our local requirements through, city, employee manual and so forth.
Sure.
There's no shortage of time that's required to be trained. And then, we have things like the ISO requirements, which, helps maintain our class 1 fire rating. There's all kinds of training that's required within that document itself that we try to, that we have to try to target as well. So it's a full-time, full year,
Sure,
round the clock deal.
Well, now the state requires so much training for officers every year. How much training does the state require for firefighters every year?
Oh, well, between hazardous materials and I think it's 24 hours alone just for the hazardous materials part of it. And then we have technical rescue. I would say that probably altogether, it's probably close to 120 hours each employee.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions for the chief?
Would you want me to then, if I make a motion to amend the motion to 3 or
I
how?
think so.
Or
Joe?
Director Falls, yeah. How should I say it?
Yeah, I guess what I would propose is if we could amend it to 3 based upon what Chief Litton stated today, but then, sorry to do this to Chief Litton, but I think it would be helpful if they could send an updated memo, and we'll include that in the packet for the Common Council next week, so you have the financials to look at. And if you
Right.
want to pull it then, go ahead and pull it.
Okay, if someone wants to pull it, they can, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we overhire 3 firefighter recruits.
I need a second. Okay, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then I'll need a motion to pass it.
Oh, because I amended it.
Right.
Okay, so a move to pass the amended motion that we hire 3 firefighter recruits.
All right.
Okay.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I'll make a note, I did talk to the police chief about this today because that has been one of my biggest angst is with the police department with their in-house training and then the 6-month FTO program. It'd be nice if we could be like the fire department, set up one school, do the overhires, whatever we anticipate, start in December when the vacations aren't being used and, run it. So we got these guys on the street in summer. But he said they're having a hell of a time recruiting. They had a test. Candidates showed up to take the test. And out of that, you can bet easily half of them should never have taken the test. And back in the day when I took it, we'd have 500 to 600 people applying at a time. So tough times for the police departments throughout the United States. So anyway,
Alder
moving on.
Galvin?
Yeah.
Alder Galvin, could I ask? With that being said, Alder Galvin, thank you for opening the floor for that. I was with the police department, you're saying there was only 27 recruits.
No,
And your
candidates.
estimate, what's that?
Candidates.
Candidates. Okay, candidates. I'm sorry. I'm just wondering in a typical year, you said there were 500 at one time, but what do you see as a good number, for just having a pool to draw from to keep the force there?
I would have to be honest with you, if we could get 100 to 200 at a crack, like I said, half of them should probably never even take the test. Out of the ones that pass, you can check with Director Fowles, she'll back me up in this. Easily half of them don't even survive the initial background check.
The test itself, just give me a real quick date as far as what it is. I mean, how many hours? I mean, what is it normally?
To take the test, it's actually it's several types of tests now, but it's a written test to test their knowledge of police, law enforcement, and that'll take anywhere from probably 2 to 3 hours to take that test.
Okay.
And then they have oh God, what is it?
No, that's fine. I just
Yeah,
ballpark.
They have a lot of different tests than they had when I first started. It's much more extensive because they're trying to weed out people before they spend a lot of money doing background checks and things like that.
Right. Okay. That's good. Thank you.
All right, so that passes, and on to informational. Report of routine personal actions for regular employees. Does anyone have any question for staff on that?
Move to receive and place on file.
Second.
And all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Our next meeting is February 23rd, 2021, and I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
To adjourn. Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, this meeting is over, and we'll take just enough time off to